So, welcome to the episode 2 of the Chick Immigration Podcast, where we talk about immigration and everything else. So, today I have a special guest, a family lawyer and a good friend of mine. We will talk about immigration, sponsorship application, and generally agreements like prenups, separation agreements, and so on. So, here, welcome Julia Kril. She's a good friend of mine, so please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me. So my name is Julia. I am a family lawyer here in the province of Ontario. I got called to the bar, when was it, 2023. I practice family law, civil litigation, and a little bit of criminal defense.
That's a good field. Everything. Almost,
Very exciting.
Right? Very exciting. So you must have a lot of expertise now. I know you work with other lawyers as well, and you've been going to courts yourself. So I personally work with a lot of sponsorship application and people who are trying to get married, and actually it's a big step, right? It's a big financial step. So what would be your recommendation as a family lawyer to advise my clients, let's say, who are getting into marriage, they also not just doing a marriage, they're doing a sponsorship application, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would be your advice before getting married? What would be the steps for the young couple to consider before getting into it?
So I think it's very important to first and foremost be aware of, this is us discussing the legal aspect of marriages and family law, of course. So be aware of each other's financial circumstances. Be aware of, what you are getting yourself into. Especially if there are couples coming into a marriage with properties or children of previous relationships or marriages, just have discussions with regards to that. So as an example, what a lot of people have no idea about, and this is totally normal, is, if let's say there's two people getting into a relationship or engagement or marriage, and one of the people has a child, is whenever you get married and whenever that other parent starts acting as, that other party starts acting as a parent to that child, then if in the case of a separation, that party would be required to pay child support.
Oh, wow.
And that shocks a lot of people because, I've had situations where that party is, essentially they're saying, oh, that's not my child, why should I be paying child support? No, if you acted as a parent, if you were a parent figure to that child, you are required to pay child support. And then if you're not agreeable, then it can potentially go through litigation, and the judge would ultimately order you to pay that child support.
There's a lot of the law that I'm noticing from our conversations that you tell me, and it blows my mind sometimes that you are liable for something that you didn't even know.
Yeah.
For instance, like going to the same topic, you said, okay, it was a child. What if there's no child involved, right? Let's say they're just a young couple getting into marriage. What documents you usually present to you as a lawyer? Because you're coming in, let's say me and my future husband want to discuss, the financials. Do you ask for all the notice financial disclosures?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's not, okay. If the parties are entering into a marriage contract, we as lawyers always advise to draft financial disclosures. And in order to draft financial disclosures, we typically ask for 3 most recent notices of assessment, typically 3 of their most recent pay stubs, and then you also set out your financial situation. So all of anything that you have in your bank accounts, your savings, your checkings, your RSPs, whatever it is that you have. If you own some sort of stocks anywhere, you set all of that out, as well as your debts. So if you have a mortgage, if you maybe owe a loan to your friend or your parent or a relative, right? You set all of that out. And so it's very important to present that full financial disclosure before entering into a marriage contract, so that both parties are familiar with, again, each other's financial circumstances and the fairness of the whole agreement. So, and specifically, if there's a property involved, that can potentially be a matrimonial home in the future. I'm not going to get into all the details of a matrimonial home. That's very it's complex. It would take a lot of time. But a matrimonial home is not excluded property. It cannot be excluded property, even if, let's say, one party purchased it prior to marriage and paid, everything has been paid and gave a down payment of $200,000. If a separation happens down the line, and if both parties reside at that home, then it doesn't matter that, for example, the husband or the wife or whoever didn't contribute a penny to that house. They would still be entitled to equalization, which I'm not going to get into. So my point is, I know it is a complex area of law, There is a lot of math involved, which I typically do on a, we do on a daily basis. But essentially, yes, set out all of your financial circumstances, figure out who would kind of be entitled to what property could be excluded, would be excluded, stuff like that.
So on this topic, would you personally do a prenup?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And you would recommend the clients to?
100%. I mean, it's kind of your insurance for the future, because here's my thought on marriage. Obviously marriage is great. We know a lot of happily married people. I know a lot of non-happily married people. And me as a family lawyer, like I see this every single day. I see, maybe I'm, again, it's kind of my perception, but a long time ago, I was like, no, like a prenup is just, it's so uncomfortable. It can complicate your relationship.
And the topic about this, like, just to bring it up to your partner.
Exactly.
Let's talk about finances and like how we're gonna get divorced.
Yeah, absolutely. But ever since I've started being a lawyer and working in family law, I would 100%. Not only would I get a prenup, I recommend a prenup to everybody. Because again, it's your insurance for the future, and why not have that safety?
Definitely. So moving to the next question that I have for you. So I have a lot of clients. We submitted a lot of different applications, including sponsorship, permanent residency application, work permits, and so on. Okay. And sometimes during this process, the separation happens. You've been married, and your partner just, I don't know, cheated on you, or decided I'm not gonna be living in Canada, or they don't see a future together. Happens. So in that case, my clients ask me, well, I'm not married anymore. We're not in marriage-like relationship anymore. And technically, from my perspective, I will put legally separated in the application. And Immigration Canada often asks me, like, provide the proof of it. Definitely, there's no yet proof like this officially, because there's no separation agreement just yet. So what would you say would be good proof to show to Immigration Canada, or just generally to show for any other purposes that you are legally separated?
So I remember we dealt with this previously. I believe you referred the client to me at some point. There isn't a thing by the name of legal separation. You can be separated, and then in order to get a divorce, you have to be separated for a year, or there has to be adultery or physical abuse, mental abuse, stuff like that. However, to answer your question, in that regard, one option is obtaining an affidavit from a client, and that client just essentially setting out their position, explaining what happened, and then an affidavit is signed in front of a commissioner, in front of a lawyer, stuff like that. And so you're essentially swearing an oath. You're saying what I'm telling you is true, and it's honest, and it's accurate, right? So you can set out that position. You can see if the other relevant authority accepts it. Another one is maybe commencing a court application, and then
starting the process.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can, and this is also what a lot of people have no idea about, that you can only commence a divorce, you can only start the divorce process after you've been separated for a year. That is not true. You can start the divorce process at any point. You can, like, let's say, you can be separated today. I can go file a court application tomorrow.
Oh, that's great to know.
Yeah. And so that kind of gives that extra kind of safety, or not safety, but that, going back to your question, could be just extra proof. Yeah, that we have separated. I have filed a court application. However, there's numerous stages to obtaining a divorce. So while you can file a court application and kind of have it sitting in court, you can only file the final paperwork after
1 year.
Yeah, after the year ends.
Well, divorce questions, okay? My clients also asked me recently this type of question about, where do you usually recommend to get the divorce, in Canada or overseas? Let's say I have a client from India. She's asking me, should I just go back to India and file it there, or should I just process everything here?
I'm gonna give a very lawyerly answer. I'm gonna say it depends.
Okay.
Think about it this way. I mean, okay, I'm a lawyer in Ontario, right? I know Ontario laws. I know how the process works here. In terms of how the divorce processes are in other countries, obviously, I don't know. Like, maybe it could be easier in Ukraine. I don't know. Maybe it could be easier in India. Maybe it could be easier in China. It really depends on what's more comfortable for them, and maybe also how long they have been residing in Canada for, and how many assets they have tied to Canada. So, for example, if let's put it this way, we have a lot of Ukrainian immigrants who came here post full-scale invasion, and so if they have only lived in the province of Ontario in Canada, right, for let's say a year and a half, But then they have all, and they're renting property here as an example. Maybe they don't have kids, or maybe they have a child, whatever it is. But like, I don't know. I mean, no, it's a complicated question. Maybe it could be easier to get it in Canada, but also it really depends on various factors.
I think it also depends probably on the both parties, like
Yeah.
who's getting divorced, because some people maybe culturally will not want to get married in Canada, but just process it in India, right?
Mhm.
Or elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it really depends. And it depends probably how fast it goes, right? I'm not too sure about India divorce processing time versus Canada or Ontario specifically. We have specific.
But also keep this in mind. So in order to even get a divorce in Ontario, not both parties, one of the parties, I'm pretty sure, has to be residing here for at least a year.
Mhm.
So it's not also like somebody has been living here, not even in Canada, but I'm specifically
in Ontario.
in Ontario for, let's say, half a year, and they want to get a divorce here. Impossible. Like, one of the parties would have to be living here for 12 months.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, it really depends.
So if you came here like 2 months ago, you can't really. Well, that's good to know.
You would need to reside here for at least a year.
Okay, I have some fun topic, one fun newspaper article that I found last week from Immigration News, I believe, and it was about the fraud. And I'm personally in a business where I know I love working with like the couples, and I love love and the stories about love. And sponsorship application for me are really more for something I really like to do in this type of business. Economic immigration is fun, but sponsorship is, of course, about genuine relationship. But there's a lot of fraud happening as well, as I see in the newspapers as well. So there was some percent cut, okay, where they will arrange the marriages, okay. Let's say you are Canadian and there's a person from Ukraine that paid you, let's say, I don't know, $50,000, and you just basically fake the marriage and everything. Did you ever heard of the cases like in your field about this, like fake marriages getting divorced, and or maybe your own input in that type of topic?
I never stumbled upon those cases in my practice, thank God, because that would, I mean, first and foremost, just as a disclaimer, the moment I hear any sort of like
Fraud, yeah, like
not even fraud, I'm like trying to find the correct word. If there's any sort of like the slightest indication that this may be a fraudulent marriage, then I can't act for you any longer, right? Because obviously we're bound by the law society rules and stuff like that. So no, it never happened in my practice, but I did hear it. I'm sure everybody did. Like, I heard it a long time ago from like the Ukrainian community. Especially, remember we were much younger, like...
I think we even saw that in a newspaper article, like, it was a Ukrainian newspaper, and there was I felt like there was no shame in it, where the person, I think it was some guy who posted an ad, like, looking for Ukrainian women, and I'm willing to pay for it. I was like, this is very...
I mean, it's a dumb idea.
This is a dumb idea.
From like even from a criminal law perspective. People just don't think, and they think as long as for example they put it in the newspaper, especially Ukrainian newspaper.
Any society, like any cultural newspaper article, just my recommendation: don't do it. Okay, so there's so many other pathways that you can actually take, and my personal opinion on this: slow is the fastest way to go. And if you're trying to find like a little shortcut, sometimes it will backslash you at some point. Maybe not if you're really good at it, right? I was studying criminal law, so I know for a fact what they teach us is have to do the criminal act.
Not get in trouble.
Not get in trouble. I'm joking, of course. It's not about that, but we understand why people commit crime. And coming from the perspective of restorative justice to understand why they do it. But I also say it's better to follow the law and make sure that you don't get, in trouble later on. Because even if you go through this fraudulent marriage, is it worth the risk? That's my question, right? So anyways, on a little personal note, I prepared a few questions for you as a lawyer, okay? There's a question like, let's say, if you had to sponsor someone, okay, if let's say fell in love with some Ukrainian boy from back home.
It's not
I'm not starting. You're not right now. Your parents will be so happy about it. But anyways, if you had if you met someone online but never met in person, but you met in love online,
Personally, okay, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
However, I know a lot of people who did do that and they have very successful marriages. So to each their own.
Wow, that's very interesting. So did you actually deal with marriages like yourself from the practice, or they just met online and?
Yeah, from my practice, from like outside of work, I know people that met online. Like people have met people from not just Ukraine, like from other countries, and they.
What countries that would be? I'm kind of curious that you worked with.
So definitely, like Ukraine is one of them for sure. Are you saying like what
Common that
common
you know.
countries? Iran. I mean,
Yeah.
that's because a lot of my clients are Persian. Ukraine, as I mentioned, everywhere, like European
Actually, that's
countries.
true.
Yeah.
I have personally like crazy stories for sponsorship application where, let's say, Canadian a guy will sponsor someone from Japan, and then they will or meet someone online from US or from London, in England, right? And they will never meet before in person.
But you know what? It's also interesting that you bring this up because it even keeps. I don't know. It's like my algorithm. I guess it was at some point.
It's your algorithm.
At some point. I was seeing these TikToks of people just. It's like these videos of like, oh, we've been chit chatting for years, and I'm traveling, or now this person is in my country and we're getting married.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
saw these videos. Yeah,
First of all, 4 years, that's a long time. And that's a lot of patience, I think. But also, again, like it's risky, but to each their own.
I feel like because you are maybe building that emotional support with that person, and maybe because there was no physical factor over there, that's why you are more attached to this person because it's emotionally attached, emotional attachment for sure for that. But anyways, another question: would you sponsor someone if your parents didn't approve?
Yeah. I mean,
if they say no to this guy, but
it's my life. My parents are not gonna live with that person.
Okay, I have some also quick questions, okay, that you can answer. So like you have to answer. I did this with my previous guest. Okay, so let's say you have coffee and tea. Okay, so let's say I ask you coffee or tea, and you need to answer like quicker. Okay, so it's just like a few questions. Okay, so coffee or tea during client meetings?
Tea.
Morning court or late night paperwork?
Morning court for sure.
Oh really? Okay.
Who wants to work at night?
I don't know.
Not me.
Morning courts though.
And I'm a morning person. Like I'm usually I'm usually out at like 6, 7 a.m. So that's fine.
No, me too. But late night will be tough as well. Yeah. If you weren't a lawyer, what would you do?
Oh boy. Oh, that should be a question. Oh my gosh.
TikToker.
No. Teacher? No, not a teacher. I don't have patience. I'm very patient. This is exactly why I ended up going to law school because I was teaching in Spain was not for me. What would I do? I would own an animal shelter.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, all the dogs. And Julia. You shall not involve into marriage. You should get a consent first. Anyways, do you have any favorite TV, lawyer, or legal drama that you watch? Except Suits.
I've only seen like a season of Suits a long time ago. Favorite lawyer, maybe Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. I read the book a long time ago. Al Woods, obviously.
Oh yes,
obviously. I feel like that's a standard answer. Yeah.
That's actually in the second movie they had she was like fighting for rights for dogs.
Oh, that's right.
You see, I remember. That's right. And last question: what's harder, explaining family law to your clients or dating a lawyer?
Explaining law to your family clients. You know what?
Really?
100%. I keep hearing people say they would never date a lawyer. I'm like, excuse me. First of all, why? Maybe they had bad experiences with some people. Okay. But no, definitely explaining family law to clients because while there's a lot of people that kind of follow your advice and understand what you're telling them, there's also the people that don't. And so you're kind of just like constantly repeating the same thing, making sure they don't break the law, making sure they don't get themselves in trouble, stuff like that.
You know what I personally, my ick with clients, and I have to share it, I don't like when they do something and then they come to me. Versus I would advise, please come to me first before doing something because I have clients sometimes going somewhere and doing things and then they ask me, did I do it correctly?
Well,
Well, not always.
see, what happens with me a lot is I give them advice. They say, I understand, I will follow it.
Yeah.
Then they come back to me and they say, Julia, I did it. Help. And I'm like, what did I tell you? You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
what did I tell you? I
Did
had
I tell you?
a try long conversation with you.
Well, I think for all of listeners, I would just advise. I think in any type of circumstances, it's really important whenever you're making a decision, let's say marriage or immigration filing. It's good to get advice from a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So to wrap up this podcast, I would say make sure you get a consultation, either with the family lawyer or immigration consultant, if you're actually looking to get answers in these topics. And I want to thank you, Julia,
Thank
for
you for
amazing
having me.
podcast.
I'm very honored.
Yes, I'm really honored myself, and I'm really thankful for having you here today, and just to have you as my friend as well.
Of course, same here.
Thank you.